Hello and welcome in today's exciting episode. It's a sewing vlog plus there's a pattern haul. So I finished these 5 jackets, which were my June jackets, plus 1 yellow shirt and 1 purple dress. And because all the big 4th of July sales are on at the moment, I also show you some patterns I recently bought, in case you're still deciding what you want to buy at the sales. Perfect jacket. Okay, almost the end of the month and I have several things to finish. We have the shirt, I have a dress, it's a 1939 dress, and I have those 5 jackets. So this is the shirt. I've sewn on the hood. I was originally going to have a collar on this, but I decided to use the hood instead from that vintage Valentino inspired dress. Machine sewed on the outside part, and now you can machine sew on the inside one once you've tucked up the lining, but I don't want a visible machine sewn line, and as you can see I've hand finished these, so I'm just going to hand finish this. I also think it sits better when hand stitched the inside rather than the stiffer machine stitches, and then once I've done that I'll get on to the jackets. Okay, I finished the shirt, just did that hand stitching, and then I also put the lining in the dress, and then I sewed on the sleeves, set the sleeves. So that one is done, and then you just have to hand stitch the bottom of the bodice lining up so that it covers all the raw seams. So the dress is done too. Yeah, you can't really see the hood of the shirt, but it's, yeah, this is it from the side. You can sort of see it. Now that and this is it with the dress over the top. So the inside of the hood matches the outside of this dress, and yeah, the outside of the hood matches the shirt. So you could wear these together. I'll probably wear this shirt with the other yellow bib and braces dress, sort of a jumper dress. And yeah, in the background you can see I also have a little bit of that purple fabric left from the dress. It's the top tier of the skirt of the Empire line dress. I also have a little bit of that left too. The one on the left has a navy base, and the one on the right, it has sort of mauvey, pale mauve flowers, plum background and blue leaves, really pale blue leaves, and it's Blue Month. So I thought maybe I'll mix some maybe navy fabric in there and some other blue florals and make a layer cake dress out of them. But anyway, that's for July. So these are my June jackets, and this is footage of them before I'd finished them. So the outer jacket is finished, and I just love this tweed. I originally bought it. It's a Linton tweed from Linton Tweeds in the UK. And I originally bought it because I've got this Chanel tweed in exactly the same colours. And I just love my Chanel tweeds so much. Whenever I see something that reminds me of them, I just buy it. Like if it's a floral cotton or if it's another tweed, it's ridiculous. Now that I know that I do it, I've stopped doing it. But honestly, for a while there, I was like, oh, I have to buy that. And then I'd get it home and I'm like, yeah, you already have this. So this one is gorgeous. I was trying to show you the hot pink and white one at the front has silver, really thin silver foil bits in it. It's amazing. Whereas that one on the left there is apricot beige, fluoro pink and sort of mohair. And I left the jackets on the mannequins for a few days and I did a couple of hours each night finishing off all the linings. Once all 5 linings were done, I pinned them to the outer jackets, sewed them all together. Because I was doing all the work at night time, it wasn't very photogenic. So yeah, this is them finished. And once I sewed so you sew the lining in and then you hand stitch the seam allowance back. So all 5 are done, and you can, as you can see here, so you basically the lining is a replica of the outer jacket, but you know, you just have silk for most of the panels and the pieces, and then the outer fabric, so either the leather or the tweed for the front inside panels because it just makes the jacket sit better. With a couple of them, I couldn't find. I put the yoke, the tweed bit at the top of the back, in a safe place, and I can't remember where I put them. So I just went to my scraps bag and found bits that are kind of matching, and I used them for the yoke. It's just so that it sits on your neck properly and it carries the weight of the jacket properly. So it's better to have a little bit of tweed with backing fabric at the top of the back and the two front panels, just because I want my jackets to last for decades and decades. And the ones that I've made like a decade and a half ago, they're absolutely gorgeous. So I think it's worth the extra cost and the extra effort, but each their own. So they're all done. And then the last thing to do is to hand stitch all the layers together, up the front, around the neckline, and then down the other front. Now I'm just matching threads to each of them. I know that yellow seems a bit bright, but it's just, I'm going to use one thread of yellow and one thread of pink together when I sew them, so it's actually going to be a good match. But it is important to take the time to find a unique combination of thread that you then use to hand stitch each one, and take your time when you're doing it so that all your stitches are even and of equal tension. You obviously can top stitch with a sewing machine, but on tweed I never would. It looks fast fashion, so if the point of hand making a tweed jacket, of course it's cheaper, so it's more affordable, but you still want it to look good. With the gold one, I'm not going to do the top stitching because you can't puncture leather or faux leather. I mean, you can, but it leaves a mark. Also, with the 4 tweed ones that I've shown you, I am going to do all over embellishments. So see how these ones have beads all over, whereas this banana Chanel jacket, Chanel tweed, it just has a beaded trim. So I make the beaded trim separately. I'll put a card up to a video where I made this, and I make the whole of the trim separately. It takes like a week, 2 weeks to make that, and then I cut it off the frame. It's sort of like it's embroidered onto an embroidery frame, and then I carefully cut it off. Then I prepare the back of it, and then I stitch the actual trim to the jacket. And because it's being made that way, you can't do the top stitching now. You have to do it afterwards. Anywho, I'll explain it when I do it. But so yeah, I'm leaving the gold one on the sideboard for the moment while I work on the other 4 jackets, doing the top stitching on that. But also some of you have asked to see the patterns that I use. So for the purple dress, I love this vintage Vogue pattern from 1939, which is the year Wizard of Oz came out. It's called V9294, and it is so beautiful, but it's very form-fitting around the torso and extremely flattering, and I wanted something baggier. So with the bodice, I use the pullover dress bodice from Butterick 6677, and the sleeves, it's just a standard sleeve pattern. And then with the shirt that I made, gosh, it took me almost a year to finish that one. That's the New Look one, this pattern here, New Look N6698, and they're all available, just they're still all current. Now I am going to go and hand stitch these 4 tweed jackets, which is going to take hours, literally. But while I do that, here is a pattern haul of a dozen or so recent patterns that I bought. So these are the patterns. As I said, there's big 4th of July sales on at the moment. In the UK, some people have asked why they can't get US patterns in UK. It's because of a trade and commerce thing. If you buy clothing or sewing patterns in the UK, then they have to be in UK sizes or Euro sizes. They can't be in something that's very confusing. US sizes and UK sizes have the same numbers, but they represent different sizes, and that's why you can't get them. But there are a lot of people, whenever there's a sale at Joann's or online, and they're massively reduced, then people go into the store and buy in America and buy loads of them and then sell them on eBay. So you might be able to get one on eBay, but do keep in mind that they are US sizes, not UK sizes. And obviously in the UK, there are loads of independent pattern companies. Now, first up, we have McCall's 7120. And I haven't bought this in the past because it's not really easy to line. You either have to do a full lining, or I guess you could do a bodice lining, but there's no actual waistline seam. So that's why I haven't bought it in the past. But I don't know, it's just so cute. Anyway, that's why I got that one. So the next one is one of those Mummy and Me ones. And I just like the smock. I just think it's really cute. I don't know, for gardening or housework. I just like it. And it doesn't take that much fabric. So it's Simplicity 8856. And yeah, I just thought it was cute. And they've used a sort of heavier cotton fabric, and I think it looks nice. So I think I'll do sort of lighter weight ones and heavier weight cotton ones. So, and sort of, I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting to see the difference between the weights. The next one, I simply bought this Simplicity one because I think she looks so cute in that outfit. I don't even knit. She's holding a ball of wool and it's like falling down or something. And the scarf is so cute. I mean, it's not a pattern for a scarf and I don't knit anyway. But I just thought the dress was delightful. And I totally want a pair of those boots. It doesn't really have anything to do with the dress, but I do like it. It's a pullover dress and then it's got ties under the bust. And I mean, if you pulled them too tight, you'd wreck it eventually, but it's just sort of loosely tied. So instead of having a sash around your waist, which is what I most often do, you don't have anything like that. And it just has these two little ties that are at the side and you tie them at the back and it just brings it in slightly. And I really like that idea. So I just, yeah, again, it doesn't have, I guess you could do a bodice lining. I'm not sure what I'll do, but I just thought it was cute, so I bought it. And then next we have this Simplicity top is, well, it's two tops, a dress and baggy trousers in two different lengths, and it's Simplicity 8926. And I just think she looks lovely in that dress. And you can also sort of add another sort of section at the bottom that looks like a ruffle or a really big layer to make it a maxi dress. Again, it doesn't have a bodice, but it does have a front and back of those square pieces at the front that frame the face and the neck. So all your raw seams are covered. Also, I like the idea of embroidery around those panels and then just plain fabric as the dress. I think that would be really pretty, like they've done in the picture, but actual hand embroidery, not buying something. So that's what I'm thinking about for that one, or why I bought it. Plus, I don't know, I just think it's really pretty. Next up, we have McCall's 7948. And I bought this. It is very similar to the dresses that I make. And it's a pullover dress. And I currently use Butterick 6677 for my bodice and then do just whatever tiers of fabric for the skirt. I don't really measure anything out. I just sort of go by feel. So this is basically just a different bodice. I wanted to see what McCall's version of my B6677 was like, so that's why I bought it. In the picture, they don't line it, they use facing for the bodice, and it annoys me the way that you can see where the seams are and where the facing is. So I will fully line mine. But apart from that, I think it's beautiful. Also, this bodice is built to design to have sleeves on it, whereas the Butterick 6677 isn't, which makes it good. The Butterick 6677 is good for puffy sleeves because the wider the armhole is, the better a puffy sleeve sits. But this one is for classic sleeves. So yeah, I think that would be good. Next, we have a blouse. It is Simplicity 9469. She looks absolutely gorgeous, and I love the puffiness at the bottom of the sleeve. So pretty, and it's got a keyhole. I've made like a billion dresses that just have a normal straight neckline or, slightly scooped neckline. And I thought maybe I'll try making these shirts. I'll try all of the different variations, and whichever one I like the most, or if I like a couple of them, then I think I'll use them as a bodice to make other dresses. I also want a couple of tops out of that as well, but it doesn't have any lining and you have to use bias tape. So yeah. This one, however, is like it's got the front and the back of those black bits will encase all the raw seams, and there's no need to do any bias binding or anything. So I like that about it. The pattern number is M7284. These trousers, when I was doing my 5 essential sewing patterns for hand making your own wardrobe, I realized you don't really have that many trouser patterns. So that's why I got this one. I think she looks awesome. Obviously, that's absolutely no guarantee that I would look good in them. It's McCall's 8206, and it's got some cool cargo pants pockets, those big pockets. So yeah, I thought that was worth getting and maybe trying out. Next we have a vintage one from the 1950s. It's a reprint, Simplicity 8456. A lot of people have asked me what I recommend for 1950s authentic petticoats or underdresses, slips, and this one, absolutely this one. I haven't made it yet, but I have read the instructions and I have looked at the line drawings. This one, it is beautiful. I think I'm going to make the blue one as an actual dress because I just think it is so pretty. But I'm going to eventually get around to making all of these, and they are just perfection. I absolutely love them. Next up is a McCall's Chanel style jacket. It's M8370. I mean, hands down, the Vogue 7975 is my favorite jacket. Those 4 tweed and that faux leather gold one that I'm making at the moment are all Vogue 7975. But this is interesting because in the 60s, women's clothing, instead of doing the princess seam from the shoulder to the bottom of the bodice, so these are the ones that I've got, and that's how the 7975 is done. With this one, it became popular to do the princess seam into the arm stye. So see how it goes up into the arm rather than up into the shoulder. So yeah, I don't like some aspects of this. So the lining is just an exact copy of the outer jacket, which is not how you're supposed to do it. But I think what you're supposed to do is the inside 2 front ones are supposed to be tweed because it makes the whole jacket it has more structural integrity and it makes it last longer, because that edge there is the one that's going to fray first or have the most wear and tear. And if it's just silk or just cheap lining, it's of course not going to last as long. And also it's better to have a tweed yoke at the back. But anyway, I'm going to do a mock-up of this. I think the next video you'll probably see, if I have time, is me doing a mock-up of this. And if I like the outer jacket, then I will take the time to draft myself a different lining and I'll film all that process as well. But that's why I bought that one, because it's interesting and yeah, I like it. So next, this is it's called Jiffy. I guess that's what Simplicity used to be called. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a reversible dress. So it's red on one side. It's like the walkaway dress, but this is one for people who don't have a massive bust and it wouldn't look good in the other one. So this one's more of I feel like I could wear this with a pair of yoga pants and be perfectly comfortable in it. So it's Simplicity 1356. And yeah, I don't know. So you just put on the front like an apron and tie it at the back. And then you pull the strings forward and tie them under your bust. And that's how you secure the back. So yeah, I thought I'd make it at least once to just see what it's like. So it's from the 1960s. I thought it might be cute. So that is why I bought that one. And these vintage ones that they're reprinting now, it is so awesome that they're reprinting them, but they sort of disappear. If they're not popular right away, they tend to disappear and then you can't get them again. So that is why I bought this one too. It's another vintage reprint, McCall's, and the number on this one is, sorry, I'm reading off my screen, M 8338, and it's a 1930s dress, and I love 1930s and 1940s fashion. It is incredibly flattering. It's so slim cut, slim fit at the waist, like the whole of the torso. So I'm kind of into baggy clothes at the moment, but I just bought the pattern because I don't want to lose my opportunity to buy it, because it is a beautiful pattern. So yeah, those are the 12 I got. It's not many patterns. I know when there are sales, people sort of go a little crazy and buy loads and loads of them, but these are ones that I really, really want to make. So yeah, as I said, I'll probably make that Chanel style jacket first, just a mock-up of it, and then we'll see how we go from there. But yeah, and that blouse with the keyhole bit at the neckline, I think that's going to be gorgeous. And if I do like it, I'm going to make so many dresses with that neckline because it's so pretty. Anyway, I have finally finished all the hand top stitching on the other 4 jackets. So I guess we'll leave these here and I'll get out the jackets now. Here they are. So what I did was hand stitch around the edge seams of the front edge, round the neckline, and then back down the front. I've left and then the next thing you do is hand stitch the lining to the bottom of the inside, but I'm going to bead mine, so I've left it open. But yeah, I've just taken photos for close-ups of the tweed so that you can actually see. Normally I sort of just lean into it, but some of you have said that if you watch it on a big screen, it makes you dizzy. With YouTube, it's a hard balance because a lot of people watch it on their laptops. Some people watch it on big screen TVs, and other people watch it on mobile phones, just the tiny little screen of that. So it's sort of hard to strike a balance, but I'm trying. So these are just little close-ups of each of the the tweeds, so you can sort of see all the different yarns and all the different textures in there, and maybe get a better idea of why I love them each so much and why I think that they're all so individual and different. This is their side profile. It is quite a cropped jacket, but if you look at the one with the fringe, you can see that if I did it at the standard length, so the Vogue 7975 pattern sort of goes down to where the bottom of the fringe is, and I have slight shoulders but normal size hips, so my hips are actually quite big relative to how slight my shoulders are. And yeah, by cropping an extra 10 centimeters or 4 or 5 inches, it just makes me look taller rather than hippier. Also, it's just more comfortable. And yeah, so this is them from behind and from the front again. So they're sort of very starbursty because they're sort of bright but pastel at the same time. I love them. As I said, with the gold leather one, I'm probably going to do a beaded trim for that one. The others are all going to be embellished with like all over beads. I do want to at some point do an all over beading embellishment on a leather jacket, but that faux leather one is really quite thick. I have a thinner faux leather one in antique gold. It's sort of olive antique gold color. It's gorgeous. And I've got sort of, a couple of tweeds that are Egyptian themed. So I think when I do them, I'll also make that other faux leather jacket and try embellishing that. If it works on that, then I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one, or maybe the beaded trim. Anyway, if you're not going to bead yours, or you're not going to put special trim on it, what you do next is you just fold under the silk lining, and then you just pin it with silk pins. Silk pins from Clover. I'm not sponsored or anything, but use a Microtex needle when you use your sewing machine to sew silk, and use silk pins when you're pinning silk. It will save you a lot of heartache. That's from someone who learnt the hard way. Anyway, once you've hand sewed the silk down, then you buy some chain like this from the jewellery section of a hobby store or a fabric store. Don't look in the notion section, look in the jewellery aisle. That's where it'll be. And obviously this is a heavy tweed, and that's a very light chain, but that's the only chain I have. I don't use chain in mine. I weigh mine down with beads on the outside of the jacket. But yeah, just make sure you know if yours is a winter weight tweed or a summer weight tweed, and when you're going to the store and buy the appropriate chain, you can just sort of feel it. And is this weight heavy enough to weigh down my jacket and make it look beautiful? So yeah, and once you get the right chain, just cut it to the right length and then hand stitch it in, sort of just nestled under where the silk and the tweed meet, right at the bottom of the jacket. That is the perfect spot for it. Anyway, that is it for this video. Gosh, I'm exhausted. To recap, I finished the purple dress from 1939, and then I finally sewed the hood on the other floral blouse that has been ages in the making. Then we saw the pattern haul of those dozen patterns I bought recently. Really looking forward to making pretty much all of them, but definitely that Chanel style jacket. And then I finally finished these 5 jackets, 4 tweed and 1 gold faux leather. It really was a mad rush to the finish line for June. So I'm going to go collapse in a heap and, I don't know, have maybe a big slice of chocolate cake or something. And then I will get ready to tackle July with all the blue fabrics and, yeah, lots of shirts and dresses and jackets to be made. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you were inspired to drag out your unfinished projects and finish them. It is so sad. I mean, it's absolute hell finishing them, but once they're made, oh, it is so satisfying. I absolutely love it. And Simplicity Online Patterns have a sale on at the moment. Most patterns are $5, but the Vogue ones are $5.99, so they're $6. And also Mood Fabrics, they ship around the world, have 20% off sale, but they have sales like every month or every other month. So if you're not, cashed up at the moment, don't stress out. Just make a wish list, and next time a sale comes round, have at it. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, happy sewing.